In this screencast, I'll show you a few things about picture boxes, some things about class inheritance, and a few other random things. As you can see, I'm beginning with our normal bare form, and I'm going to add a picture box. So let me add a picture box member variable to the form. Picture box, let's call it PB. Now I just want to make sure you're clear on something. Notice I'm declaring this variable inside the class but outside any method. So it's going to be what's called an instance variable. It's going to be accessible to any of the methods inside this class. It's not a local variable of any method. Some of our other examples, we were putting the variable inside of the constructor as a local variable, but that's because we weren't using it anyplace else. We were just adding it to the controls of the form and letting it go from there. This is how it's typically done though, because normally you want to access this again, this variable, and if it's a local variable, obviously once the constructor is done, that variable's gone. You'll never be able to get to it again. Anyway, so I've got a picture box variable, and here we'll initialize it by creating a new picture box, and let's give it an image. The image I'll give it is something on my disk here I have handy. What's that? I don't know. Let's see, I think I have one called card.ping. It's just one of those cards from that website that I sent you, I think. Now I could set location and size. Location I'm just going to leave off for now, so it'll default to 0, 0, top left. And the size, as we saw before, the size of the picture box doesn't necessarily match the size of the image that we put into it. Last time I sort of forced that to be true by setting the size of the picture box equal to the size of the picture box's image, like that. Now that works, but since then I've discovered something a little more handy, and that is the picture box size mode. Now this is an enumeration. It has 5 options. You can't see them. They're showing on my screen, but you can't see them. One is normal, which is as if we didn't set it to anything, which just puts the image in the upper left corner of the picture box. You can say center it. You can say stretch it, meaning, stretch the image to fit the picture box's size. You can say zoom, which is similar, but it keeps the aspect ratio of the image. And finally, there's auto size, which is what we're going to use, which just says set the picture box's size to the image's size. So now if we add that picture box to our control list of our form, as usual, we should be able to run this and see our image. And there it is. Can't drag it or anything, but that's what I'm going to add now. And I'm going to do that, add dragging I mean, by creating a new class. And this class will be called, shall we call it, it's basically going to be a picture box that's draggable. So let's call it draggable picture box, and it will inherit from picture box. Now what that colon means, you can almost read that colon as saying is a. So a draggable picture box is a picture box. So we're going to add some functionality, the dragging part. Now I happen to have the mouse events that I'm going to trap already on the clipboard, so I'm just going to paste those in there. So I have mouse down, on mouse move, and on mouse up, just like before. Now I don't know if you remember the implementation that we did before, but I'm basically going to do the same thing. First of all, we needed to have an offset into the, let's see, this is the offset into the picture box where the mouse first goes down. So in the on mouse down handler, all we do is record that. So we say we have to cast it and get the location. So all we're doing is recording the offset into the bounding rectangle where the mouse first went down. Now remember, before we had a dragging boolean to indicate that we were in the middle of a drag operation, but since then I found out, well actually I explained it then too, but just to reiterate, the machinery of Windows Forms automatically sets the capture to be true when the mouse goes down, and then capture to be false when the mouse goes back up. So all we really need to check in our move is if we're not capturing, that means we're not interested in this mouse move event. We're only interested in the events that happen in between a mouse down and a mouse up. In those events in between mouse down and mouse up, we'll have capture set to true. So we ignore anything if we're not capturing. If we are capturing, then we need to calculate our new location of our picture box. So let's grab the location of the mouse. Now that is relative to this control, and we want to convert this to coordinates of the parent control. And as if you recall, that's a lot. If you recall, there is no direct translation. We have to go out to screen coordinates first. Then we can go back into the parent coordinates like so. And now we have the location where the mouse is relative to the parent, in other words the containing object of the picture box. In our case this will be the form. And then we set our location. Remember, our location is the location of the picture box to the point minus the offset. And the reason for making offset a size was so that I could use this subtraction operator, which is kind of nice. Size actually makes more sense because it's, well, I won't go into it. It seems to make a little more sense than a point. Although this location obviously is a point. When it's interpreted as an offset, it feels more like a size. Sort of the size of the rectangle formed by the point and the point where the mouse was and the point 0, 0. At any rate, there we go. And mouse up, if you recall, in my original version, I set capture to false, but we don't have to do that. So really I didn't have to override mouse up at all, but I'd like to do the three of these together, even though I'm not really doing anything in the mouse up. It's kind of like if you had a computer language where you didn't have to put the right parenthesis, the compiler would figure it out for you. You'd still probably put it. It just doesn't feel right to leave it off. Okay, so now I have the draggable picture box. Let's see if that compiles before I go on. And it does. Let me change my picture box up here to a draggable picture box. I could change this variable name, but I won't, because after all, a draggable picture box is a picture box, so it's not horribly named. So that should do it. Let's run that. And hello. Okay, there's our form, our card, and lo and behold, we can drag it. So that's good. That worked. The other thing I wanted to show you is how you can pull an image from the web instead of from the local file system. The way that's done is, instead of image, you use, let me just comment out that line, and instead use image location. Now, that's a pretty bad name for this property because location has strong meaning when you're talking about forms controls. But in this case, image location is the URL of the image. And let me go off and get one. Let's see. Hold on one sec. I'm just grabbing a URL from another place and pasting it here. And run. Oops. What's wrong with that? I didn't put a semicolon. Run. And now you see that there's an that little icon that was there before meant that the image hadn't been loaded yet, because it's going off to the network now. So there is how you get something from the net. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, you can probably imagine various reasons, but for your solitaire game, what would be kind of cool is if you pulled the pictures from the web, you could change card sets on your dad, and he would not have to do anything. He wouldn't have to reinstall, you wouldn't have to install card sets. You just change your images on your website, or my website, or somebody's hosting service, and his card sets will change. So it might add a little flavor. Up to you. Now you might be wondering, like, well, what if we do both of these? At first I thought maybe if you did image location, it would go off and load this, and then that would become the image. Like if you read back the image, you would get this bitmap from the PNG. But that's not true. Let's keep them both. You see, I have image set and image location set, and if I run that, what happens? First I get the local copy, and then the web copy when it finally arrives. So it's a little tricky to use both, but typically you'd use one or the other, but you can use both. And you can find out when this is happening asynchronously, this load, which is really nice. You'll find that most of the time when you need to do something asynchronously, like read a file or read from the network, something like that, .NET will handle it for you. You can create threads, you can do your own asynchronous programming, but for the most part it's not necessary. If I wanted to know when the image was finally loaded, I could tap onto an event, on loaded, something like that, and act accordingly. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to show you is, okay, I've shown you a little bit of inheritance here. Draggable picture box inherits everything from picturebox, which of course inherits stuff from control, which inherits from blah, which inherits from blah, all the way up to inheriting from object. Now let's make a class. I don't know if this is the way you'll structure things, but let's pretend it is, called card, for lack of a better name. And card will be a draggable picture box plus a little more. And a little more will be, as far as instance variables go, it'll be a rank and a suit. Now you could do enumerations here. For example, you could do a suit and call this suits hearts, clubs, spades, diamonds, and the ranks ace, deuce, trey, 4, 5, 6, 7 up through king. But I think you probably want to just do 0 through 12 and 0 through 3. Maybe you want that to be 1 through 13. I don't know, personal preference. These are probably going to be used as array indices, so 0 based probably be better, but it's up to taste, obviously. Okay, so let's make a constructor for the card, which takes, actually I'm going to rank and suit. Constructor takes rank and suit. That's pretty obvious. But I'm going to change these. These are property like. I know that they're instance variables, but they also, I want them to be able to be read, and I don't want to go to the trouble of making them actual properties. I want them to be read directly, but I don't want them to be written to. So I'm going to put the read only. Actually, I believe it goes first. The read only attribute on them. Now users of this class, they'll be able to read the rank and the suit, but they won't be able to write to it. And I don't have to go through all the machinery of a property, which we haven't really discussed much, although I've used it before. So all we do in the constructor for now is set the rank to be the rank passed in, and set the suit to be the suit that was passed in. Now you're wondering, hey, I just said these were read-only, and here I'm writing to them. Well, read-only means it's read-only except for in the constructor. In the constructor you can write to them. So, and that's pretty convenient. So once those are set, they're set. So now we have this card, and we have a card that's a draggable picture box, but we also want to set the image. And since I don't have a set of cards on disk, so I am going to read these from the web. So I'm going to set the image location to something. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to set the size mode to auto size like before. And now I'm going to set the image location. Well, what am I going to set it to? I'm going to have to build it up, actually. Oops. Let me go get that URL again. Now here's what the URL looks like for those cards. All of this stuff up through here, there's an underscore there after the word white, and then the suit underscore the rank, and then .svg, .png. So basically what I want is a string that looks like this with the suit punched in here. In this case it's spades, and the rank punched in here. Except the suits are named. They're not 0, 1, 2, 3. They're spades, hearts, diamonds, clubs. And the ranks are not 0 through 12. They are A, 2, 3, and so on. And then J, Q, and K for king, jack, queen, and king. And then the 10 is a special case. They actually use a 10, 1, 0, so it's 2 characters. So, having said all that, I am going to show you a new function. It's a static function of the string class called format, and this is more or less like sprintf. You give it a template. So instead of the percent syntax of C, you actually put these curly braces. Those are the holes in the string that get punched in with values. Okay, so the 0 and the okay. So there's the templated part. Now the first parameter, the next parameter to this call is a string that will get placed in where the 0 hole is, and then one more parameter will get placed where the curly brace 1 hole is. So let me just be verbose here. I don't know that I would normally do this. I'm going to say suit string and rank string. Okay, I'm winging this, so I hope it's not too ugly. And then I'm going to go ahead and compute suit string and rank string. So suit string is just what is it? How do you, let's see, can I do that? If I do a new string array, and then I put these strings for the suits, so spades, hearts, diamonds, clubs. This is not particularly great, but I started it and I'm in the middle, so I'm going to finish it. Okay, that is an array of strings, 4 strings, and then I'm going to simply index into that. Can I really do this with the suit? I think I can do that. And then I guess I'll do a similar thing with rank string. Let me just grab that and paste, except now I've got, oh, what a pain. Let's see, ace, 2, 3, sorry, 4. Let me go ahead and change this before I forget. And then more. 5, 6. This is sort of ugly, but also it's almost necessary because of 2 things. One, the rank is mostly numeric, but I can't use characters that easily because I got this situation with the 10 being 2 characters, and I can't just purely use numbers because I got the ace and the jack and the queen and the king. So does that work? I hope so. So that will hopefully form our URL properly, and then we just set our image location to the URL. Now notice I really didn't need to have the URL variable. I could have just put location up here. Maybe I should, or image location. But let's just see. I have a feeling there's going to be no compile error. Well, that's kind of amazing. Alright, so theoretically now, I have this constructor that creates a new card and grabs an image as well. So now I'll go back up here, and instead of creating this picture box, I'm going to create a new card. So now I'm going to say card, and let me just get rid of all this. Still can't double click. Thought I fixed that, but I didn't. Alright. So card equals new card. Rank and suit. Let's make it the 8 of diamonds. I think that's not the 8. Well, see, and that's an 8. Yeah. Starting in rank was 0 is pretty ugly, isn't it? Should start with 1, I suppose, but can change that later. So there's a card, and we've added it, and let's run. And there it is, the 8 of diamonds. Pretty sweet, huh? Oh, and I forgot to show you that it was draggable. It is draggable. I inherited from draggable picture box when I created the card class. Now let's go ahead and look at all the cards just to show you how that would be done. I'm going to take this variable out because I'm just going to use a local variable. Actually, let's see. I'm going to put all this inside of a loop, obviously. So for suit equals 0, suit less than 4. I can't tell you how much I hate writing loops like this anymore. It just feels so wrong. Okay, there's my nested loop. This junk's going to go in the middle of that. So we got to set the location of these cards, though. And I happen to know that they are 94 wide by, what was it, 128 down. So the location is a new point. Is rank, the horizontal position is rank times 94. Okay, the 94 should be card width, and the 128 should be card height. And also, let me set the size of this form to something bigger. Maybe 1,000 by 800. I think that'll fit. I want you to be able to see the whole thing. So is that going to compile? No. No. It's a point. It's not a point. This is the size. Run. See, all those haven't loaded yet. Here they come in. Oh, whoops. I got nothing but 8 of diamonds. Well, that's kind of cool anyway. Yeah, obviously I meant to say rank and suit here. I'm running, and now the cards will come on in, being loaded. They get populated a little slowly. Now you can't see everything. I'll widen this window, but I think it'll go off your visible area at the jack or so. But hey, I can drag, so I'll just drag these babies, and you can see these other cards. No surprise. Kind of cute, aren't they? These were done by an artist I know. I can show you the website. They did it in SVG. These are PNGs actually, but they were originally done with SVG. I think Inkscape, my favorite program. So let me shrink this window back down. Excuse me. So anyway, you can see I can drag all these cards, and there's a Z order. The Ace of Spades is on top of everything. The King of Clubs is behind everything. And there you go. So I think that should do it for now. Just to review, in the form, I looped through and created all 52 cards, added them to the form, and set their location appropriately. I have a draggable picture box that's based on a normal picture box, except it has these mouse handlers to handle dragging. And finally I have a card that's just a draggable picture box, but has a rank and a suit, and automatically figures out the image URL based on the rank and the suit. Now I'll show you what I meant by these read-only variables here acting like properties. What I can do, if I've got a card, I could say rank equals card dot rank. That's interesting. I thought I could do that. Let's see. What is the problem with doing that? It doesn't understand. Oh, I didn't make them public. That's the reason. This should be public read only and public read only. Now I can go back up, and if I want to access a card's rank, I can say card.rank. Just like that. It's kind of nice. Okay, but that's it for now. Good day.